Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel. I am back. Thank God. It is a pleasure for all of you. Hit subscribe. I'll be back today as well. 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll try to do a third live stream today at around well, we'll see. We'll see what time the third live stream is. But 6 p.m. tonight. Be here. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Future President Trump, and I use that term in all my YouTube live streams. He is the future president of this country. Be here on November 5th. As well, ladies and gentlemen, I have been telling you for 4 years that Trump will regain the Oval Office. To my super chat, we just started a new goal. And actually, there's an option now for certain creators to start a goal. So I have a goal of 5 super chats of any garbled. Okay, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Sorry. How is it now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, ladies and gentlemen? Is it better? How is the audio now? Is the audio better, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see. All right. Thank goodness the audio is much better. Okay, good. So let's continue. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Thank goodness we're all back. I'm back, and let's get started. I have a goal of about 5 live super chats. If you'd like to participate, any dollar amount is fine. I'm just thankful, especially in Biden's economy, thankful that you're watching. Let's go ahead really quickly, and I want to show you what media and what pundits on the left are saying is an embarrassment. There was nothing wrong with what happened now. Trump didn't show his age. Anyone of any age would have gotten into this garbage truck in the same way. Anyone of any age, any pundit, whether you're a Democrat or liberal or progressive or whatever, any pundit on the left looking at this is being disingenuous, duplicitous, deceitful, and wanting to turn, and essentially the goal is to turn Trump into Biden. But that's not happening because Trump, his cognitive abilities are far superior, and his physical abilities also are far superior. So there's this desperate attempt at trying to turn Trump into Biden. Watch this.
All right, guys. Full camera.
Right here. Keep commenting.
Did anyone see anything that shows that Trump couldn't get into, like, there are people who have done entire videos on this, and it's like, let's just look at this again. What's the embarrassing element in all of this? There's nothing embarrassing. There's nothing wrong with this. There's literally nothing wrong with what Trump did. So I want to show you here, right here.
All right, guys. Full camera.
Right here. Keep commenting.
They're trying to say that because he missed the door, which happens if it's like a rainy day, it's the surface, the ground, or the cement is slick. Like, what? I don't understand why people have looked at this and said, oh, this is an example of Trump not being able to get into a truck. It's like, no, everything was fine. You can look at this here, and we'll talk about this in the next live stream as well. But this is a desperate attempt. I'm just trying to, like, we can look at this, like, frame by frame. Where is this example where Trump is turned into Biden? I don't understand. Biden has, unfortunately, and God bless him, made up words, slurred, like, he has spoken in almost, spoken in tongues, like, he's made up words. There's examples, numerous examples, where his slurred speech turned into some type of garbled word. And God bless Biden. I'm not trying to say, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. Biden has looked, the reason they ousted him, they literally removed Biden because he looked like he was not only unfortunately frail, but physically and mentally, which we'll just say, not up to the task. That's why Harris replaced Biden. That's literally why they replaced a candidate or a president, sitting president, who won his primary. But look at this again.
All right, guys, cool camera.
Right here, keep commenting.
President Trump, you said the other day that card or the military could be used on election day. Can you be more specific about what that would look like?
Any questions?
Sir, RFK Jr. said that you promised to control the public health agencies if you were to win. Is that accurate?
I can't. You have to speak louder.
Sir, RFK Jr. said that you promised to control the public health agencies if you were to win. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Well, we'll work with him, and he's a very talented guy. He wants women's health. He wants health for people, and we're going to work with him. He's a very, very talented guy. He's a friend.
Where is the example where Trump turned into Biden? I don't see it. We'll just replay it once more. He gets into, first of all, the current president, Biden, I say this with all due respect, could not have gotten into the truck alone. That's not it. Like, that could happen to a person of any age. What's happening to Biden could happen to a person of any age. I'm not trying to insult Biden. I'm just saying that the current president literally could not do what Trump just did. And they're trying this is why media is at an all-time low in terms of trust. Nobody trusts media. And the reason is that they deceive, they lie by omission, they're deceptive, they're disingenuous, petulant. It is the height of idiocy to try to correlate Trump getting into this garbage truck with Democrats literally replacing their candidate for president because he looked and sounded and acted during a debate the way we've seen him for the past 4 years, essentially incapacitated. They literally replaced a man who won the Democratic primary, and yes, it matters. Why even have a primary? If indeed you can just pick and choose and decide without the will of the voters, why have a primary? It's a complete farce. If there's zero semblance of meritocracy, and you could take the nomination away from Biden because everyone gets to see his mental and physical state, and the media isn't saying, oh, he's fine. And they went from Biden. There are liberal pundits who went from Biden is totally fine, it's Trump who's the problem, to, oh, Harris is so much better than Biden, he's doing this for the country, to, oh, look, Trump is getting into a garbage truck, and he couldn't initially grab hold of the handle. Big deal. And that could happen to anyone. People who are in great shape sometimes can't hold on for a second to a slippery handle. It's not that big of a deal, but let's just listen to this and we'll get to more. Let's watch this. We'll get to more analysis in a second.
right, guys.
You're
Full
live,
camera.
right?
Full camera.
Right here. Keep commenting. Right.
President Trump said the other day that card or the military could be used on election day. Can you be more specific about what that would look like?
Any questions?
Sir, RFK Jr. said that you promised to control the public health agencies if you were to win. Is that accurate?
I can't. You have to speak loud.
Sir, RFK Jr. said that you promised to control the public health agencies if you were to win. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Well, we'll work with him, and he's a very talented guy. He wants women's health. He wants health for people. And we're going to work with him. He's a very, very talented guy. He's a friend of mine.
President Trump,
you know that Elon Musk
he said the other day.
I think the Democrats have done a very poor job. We're leading in every state. We're leading big, and I think that the comment made by really both of them, because there are really two of them, about being garbage, maybe 250 million people, they shouldn't be talking. That's like deplorable for Hillary. This is the deplorable for Hillary. And I think this is worse, actually. For Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
President Trump, he said the other day that the military could be used, that the military or the National Guard could be used on election day if necessary. Can you explain what you mean by that in the details?
I don't think they'll have to be used. I think we're going to have a big victory. And I think 250 million people in this country are going to be very happy because we're going to bring the country back. We're a nation in decline, very, very serious decline. And we're going to bring our country back.
Did you know that Elon Musk was in close contact with President Putin? Did you know about this? Did you know about Elon Musk calls and close communication
I don't
with
know. Elon is a great guy. He's one of our geniuses, and we have to protect our geniuses. We have to take care of our
Mr.
geniuses.
President, there's a
There
report
aren't
that
too
you...
many of them. Yes, please. No, I love Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico loves me. I don't know anything about a comedian. I love Puerto Rico. Nobody's done more for Puerto Rico than me. I took care of them when they had the big hurricanes, and nobody gets along better with Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican people than me. They love me, and I love them. Go ahead. What do I want? I don't know anything about the comedian. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him. I heard.
Okay, so that's what media does. They take, I'm not going to get into the comedian or what he said. They take a snippet of the truth and they then expand it into this propaganda. They can't talk about why a person should vote for Harris. Democrats have not explained why you would vote for Harris. They never explained why you would vote for Biden. Their entire lives, politically, most Democrats are only voting against Trump. They're not choosing their political party or their candidate because they like the policies. There's one hot button policy, and that's pretty much it. Foreign policy, they can't really explain what is the Democratic Party's foreign policy aside from allowing or engaging in endless military quagmires and global instability. Okay, with Trump, we had numerous peace deals. We had Trump removing Americans from very dangerous regions of the world. We had Trump as the first president to step foot in North Korea. We had the Abraham Accords. We had numerous examples of Trump removing Americans, the same Americans that Biden sent 20 plus years ago, to regions of the world that we shouldn't be in. Trump is the anti-war president. That's why it's the moral imperative to vote for him. That's exactly, there's no reason if there's just one reason, aside from a great economy, lower inflation, lower interest rates. We had record highs in household median income. We had a record low in poverty. There are journalists who made a big contribution, I should say. There are certain journalists who focused a lot on alleviating poverty, reducing the levels of poverty. Then they're against Trump, and it's like, I don't get that. Well, how could you be somebody who made a name for yourself trying to reduce poverty Eliminate poverty. We had record low poverty with Trump, and then you're against Trump. I don't get it. But let's continue.
I heard he made a statement, but it was just a statement that he made. He's a comedian. What can I tell you? I know nothing about him. I don't know why he's there. You put comedians up, and I guess he went on earlier in the show. I don't know who he is.
Did you think that joke was campaign with you? Is Steve Bannon going to campaign with you now that he's out of prison?
I don't know, but I think he's a terrific guy. I think he was treated very unfairly.
Mr. President, we've been talking about Democrats cheating. Could you imagine any circumstances under which you would be defeated but not say that the election was stolen?
It was...
Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign is now in damage control, while Trump is on the offense. This all comes after Biden's garbage comments are now threatening, listen to this, to derail Harris's campaign. Hello, everyone, and happy Halloween. I'm wearing orange for Halloween. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany. Here's my co-hosts, Harris Faulkner and Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Kayleigh McGee-White, journalism fellow for the Steamboat Institute and senior fellow for the Independent Women's Forum, and Mark Thiessen, Fox News contributor. President Biden set off an election firestorm with those viral comments, trashing half the country, trashing Trump supporters.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
The only garbage I see floating out there are his supporters. Let's listen to that again.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of things is unconscionable.
And then he slurred his speech, and I guess he was trying to say that Trump demonizes people, and therefore, prior to that, he said his supporters were garbage. So you heard that. And then, of course, the headlines today is, oh, well, he wasn't referring to Trump supporters. Like, you heard it right there. You heard it right there. I mean, it's right there. We can hear it again.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. Not sure if that's grammatically correct, but it doesn't matter. We're talking about Biden. And so, and then today, of course, which is why nobody trusts media. Oh, he wasn't speaking about Trump supporters. He wasn't speaking about people. Yes, he was. It's right there. It's right there. Let's listen to it again.
Trashing Trump supporters.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of things is unconscionable.
His demonizational thing is unconscionable. His demonizational thing. Okay, so again, he follows up the insult with an incoherent statement. This is just like Trump getting into the garbage truck. Like, Democrats, they're certain pundits, certain liberal and Democratic Party pundits, their minds are so warped or they're so disingenuous. You either have to be completely delusional or completely disingenuous and petulant and deceitful to try to correlate Biden's behavior, his words, his actions, the way he communicates with how Trump communicates and, gets into a garbage truck. But see, that's the thing. It's like they don't have policies they can fall back on. It's all image, and their image is completely ruined and destroyed because they actively supported somebody who doesn't really have, the lights are on, but nobody's home. I'm trying to be nice here. He's one fry short of a Happy Meal.
Now, those remarks, they speak for themselves, and they may fire up and drive up voter turnout for Trump in a razor-tight presidential race. Who knew that Biden would be providing the get-out-the-vote operation for Republicans? But it appears that may be the case. Trump, for his part, he quickly seized on the moment in a big dig to Biden's comments. And in another made-for-TV visual for his campaign that went viral, look at him there. He rolled up in a MAGA garbage truck, wearing a bright orange vest to his campaign rally in Wisconsin.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Okay, so then he did a press conference from the garbage truck. We're still waiting for Kamala Harris to do one. He did one from a garbage truck. And then he stepped on the stage in Green Bay at his rally, still wearing the bright orange vest.
Why would Harris do a press conference? She literally does not, her campaign literally does not want to speak to the press, because every single time she's asked a specific question about foreign policy, about domestic policy, it's this never-ending, long-winded, verbose word salad of endless platitudes and irrelevant, stories. So same with Biden 4 years ago. Democrats don't run a candidate; they run a machine, an entire political operation and machine. They don't run a candidate. So, and they don't really run on policies. They run on one or two hot button issues. They have the machine try to lie about Trump, which is like getting into the garbage truck was a gigantic lie. And there you go. We've gone from Trump was a Russian operative to Trump couldn't get into a garbage truck, and both of which were lies, and we had endless deceit and lies. And then they say Trump lies. Like nobody tells the truth more than Trump. That's to his detriment. And if you ask a liberal Democrat, well, what are the lies he told? They'll say, well, he didn't do a good job here, essentially, or there. And it's like, that's not a lie. That's pretty much exactly what Democrats were saying at the moment, whatever the topic was.
And he defended his supporters.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. You can't be president if you hate the American people, which I believe they do. Kamala and Joe call all of us, and them, even them, garbage. I call you the heart and soul of America. For the past 9 years, Kamala and her party have called us racists, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, Nazis, and they called me Hitler. They've censored us, they've deplatformed us, and they weaponized the power of our own government against all of us. They've taken your money, they've thrown open your borders to criminals and to foreign wars.
From the truck, we did see Kamala give a gaggle, still maintain the fact she's not done one formal press conference. We await that. We've got about 6 days here. But Emily.
She cannot do a press conference because Democrats have a political machine, a public relations monstrosity. They do not run a specific candidate. That's something that, and that's why you should subscribe to this channel. I know that the audio was garbled and messed up in the beginning, which I think hurt the live stream initially. But the reason you should subscribe to this channel is because I have been telling you, ladies and gentlemen, for years, the Democratic Party does not run an actual candidate. In many cases, they'll run a machine, a propaganda public relations machine and monstrosity. And you have everybody from CBS to CNN, MSNBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Atlantic. I mean, Trump doesn't have the luxury of like 20 publications and cable stations constantly doing his bidding, essentially, or running interference, or doing a public relations campaign 24/7 on his behalf. So There's no investigative journalism at the New York Times that investigates Hunter's laptop. You will not find that because there are no supporters of Trump at the New York Times. There are no supporters of Trump at the Washington Post. There are no supporters of Trump at The Atlantic. There are no supporters of Trump at CNN. There are no supporters of Trump at MSNBC. There are no supporters of Trump at major publications, even the ones that refuse to endorse Kamala Harris. If the LA Times or if the Washington Post refuses to endorse Harris, that's because they know that Trump is going to win, which is what I've been saying for a long time, and they want to pretend, give the veneer of neutrality, when in reality, of course, they've been in the tank for Democrats for the past, couple decades. And so you have a situation where Trump is going to dominate. He's going to do very well. Whether they eventually make it close is a question mark. Trump will do very well. Bill S., hello. No, he died. Tulsi is a huge, Bill S., Tulsi is a huge supporter of Trump. Bill, thank you. And I think that Trump loves Tulsi Gabbard. I have never heard, Bill, thank you. I have never heard that Tulsi was in any way, shape, or form an adversary of Trump. From what I know, President Trump loves Tulsi Gabbard. So I think if there's any kind of, let's look at here. I'm looking. I'm trying to look right here. No, she's a big part of Trump's campaign. I don't think he has a list. Bill, thank you. I don't think he has a list so much as he probably just has in his memory people who have wronged him. Like, I think Democrats, it's funny, Democrats actually probably do have numerous lists. Democrats have tried desperately. Media in general, they've tried to deplatform people. They're doing that now to Tim Pool. The New York Times is going after Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool, and others. So, but Bill, thank you so very much. We got what? The goal is 5, and we got 1 already. So thank you so much to my super chat. Bill, thank you. Let's continue.
That moment symbolized so much. It wasn't just some gimmicky stunt wearing a garbage man's vest. That is not what it was. He talked about all the things that have been done to American people. He connected it to policy, the grievances at the border, economically. And then he said, I'm standing up for you. To connect a flaw of Biden to policy and turn it around into a viral moment, it's really something to see.
Oh, it is. It's brilliant. But it wasn't a machinated strategy. He leaned into it because he authentically is like, you call me garbage? Well, then that's what I am. But you know what? I call us the heart and soul of America. And he's been leaning into, embracing authentically now for years, the fact that he represents and is one of the portion of America, the large majority of America that has been forgotten. And not only forgotten, but that was called deplorables and irredeemables and terrible things, that has been chastised, castigated, that has been absolutely trashed by this administration and by those that went before it that are part of that machine. And to have someone stand up for you. Remember, I talked about this months ago out of Iowa, when the number one response for those in the primaries that voted for Trump, their number one reason said was because he fights for people like me. And we are seeing it there. And by the way, out in the streets of New York, I've seen a lot of people in a Donald Trump costume wearing that garbage vest. It's phenomenal because they say, you know what? Me too. And that is phenomenal.
It is. You know, Harris, it was really funny when he described his decision to wear that on stage. I would have never expected that because he's kind of particular about what he wears and appearance.
He is.
But listen to him describe the decision here.
Then I got in the car and I'm driving over here and I have this still on. And I come into the arena and I say, where's my jacket? I want to get out of this thing. And they said, it would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage. I said,
Could you imagine a Democrat candidate or politician? Could you imagine any Democratic Party politician wearing that vest? They don't do anything without 50 to 60 public relations executives going through about 200 surveys and polls and probably 10 mathematicians crunching numbers and statisticians. Everything is calculated. And by the way, their calculations are miserable. They're going to lose miserably. But the point is, they don't do anything without an ulterior motive. Everything they say and do is because, like, for example, Harris isn't doing a press conference. They think they can do just fine without campaigning, which is what happened 4 years ago. It ain't going to be the same situation as 4 years ago. Maybe they've thrown in the towel. Maybe they think that they have something. Maybe there's an ace, maybe they have something up their sleeve. But with Trump, Trump is a walking personification of Americana. If you're repulsed by that, you're probably voting Democrat, but it's true. He's a billionaire who became president, who was accused of being an operative of the Kremlin, who was lied about and demeaned and disparaged every single moment of the past 8 years by media, not just U.S., globally, like BBC, The Guardian, publications around the world despise Trump, and he's still going to regain the presidency. What does that tell you? That's the greatest comeback story politically of all time.
And I said, no way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, oh, okay, sir. I said, get me my jacket. But if you did, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, oh. And they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage.
Then the media, they haven't done this, I don't think, but they'll probably say Trump confuses garbage truck vest for pinstripes that make you thinner, or for a weight loss. Trump confuses garbage truck vest for a weight loss diet regimen. Oh my God, he's just like Biden. Trump is losing his mind. Trust us, we're the media that told you he was a Kremlin operative, and that told you he said both sides, and that told you all of these hoaxes that were never true. That removed context, they deliberately remove context. Thank you, by the way, for the kind words, everybody. I will be back full force, full steam. I'm doing a 6 p.m. live stream today, 6 p.m. And so be here at 6 p.m. And I'll try to do a third one as well. But we are really going to work very hard. And let's continue. November 5th is going to be one of the most important days in U.S. history, so.
When they said I look thinner, I said, in that case, I'll wear it on stage. I may never wear a blue.
Kamala wants struggling seniors.
Again, I may go.
All right, so you would know. You've worked with him in many different capacities. What's going on there?
Look, I mean, he has his look, right? This is a man who knows brand. So he has his brand. He has his iconic red tie, which he occasionally changes up. But he looked thinner. So his dad, so smart to get him on stage like that. I love it. He was having fun.
Look, if you're Kamala Harris and you have worked, as Emily has talked about, because she lived in California at the time, as long as she has on the public dole, right, getting her paycheck from taxpayers as an attorney general of our largest state in the union, California, as a prosecutor, and now as vice president. I mean, taxpayers have paid her bill. If you don't know by now how to connect with people and to understand how to own a moment that your boss has created, you're stepping in all sorts of stuff now. You've got to connect with the American people, and it needs to be authentic, and it needs to be organic for you to own this moment. And the reason Kamala Harris doesn't own it right now, and that she reflexively wants to go after a different comment that Trump made, as we saw in that gaggle today, because we took it live during Faulkner Focus. The reason that she can't own that moment right now is because it's not who she is. And she doesn't have more than 5 days to convince the public that she can do this. She can connect with, and this isn't just about garbage truck workers. This is about blue collar workers. This is about every man and woman in the country who have a job right now, all paying more for their groceries and whatnot. She can't do it. Now, maybe she's got other gifts that she can show in the next 5 days, but this kind of ownership of a moment, we haven't seen it yet.
You know, Biden made a garbage comment, so naturally the White House had to do cleanup on aisle dumpster, not aisle 5 this time. And, this cleanup on aisle dumpster did not go so well, and I don't envy anyone's position having to defend this, though the apostrophe, that was kind of clever to come up with. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre endeavoring to explain the impossible.
So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
How on earth is that possible when you can see on this, you can just go to the section that I showed you. Okay, on this video, he stated it clearly. How is that possible when Biden actually does speak, which is why Harris and Biden don't do press conferences? They then have to say, well, no, they didn't say what they said. Well, of course they did. Then they complain that Trump lies. It's like nobody lies more. Nobody lies more than the morally superior, highly educated, wonderful liberal Democrats who pontificate about the truth.
Did President Biden make a mistake in his comments yesterday?
He clarified what he said. It was very clear what he was trying to do. He was wanting to make sure that what he said was not taken out of context, and he
Biden literally gave the context when he made the actual statement. It was a declarative statement. It was a statement that he literally called Trump supporters garbage.
He clarified that.
This isn't the first time the White House has had to defend or clarify the president's comments.
Nobody's defending the president himself. This is the president himself wanting to clarify what he said. He wanted to make sure that it was not taken out of context. These are the president's words. Nobody here is defending. We are laying out what the president said himself, and he wanted to clarify that.
This is the same administration that said Biden was going to be the nominee and win the presidency. How did that work out? I still haven't come to terms with the fact that we have Harris and not Biden. Biden literally won his primary. Excuse me, literally won. Why have a primary? Why even have a convention? If indeed, and CNN and others are like, oh, well, I mean, I've been saying, I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. The Washington Post called me the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. And I realized Trump was a great president, great economy, and even better foreign policy. Actually, I don't even know which was better. The economy was amazing. And they cheated Bernie Sanders. And then they did even worse to Biden. And then they say Trump lies.
Kaylee, if I would have tried that at the podium, there would have been a ferocious roar. Acosta would have stormed out. John Carl would be rolling on the floor. How did she get away with this?
Yeah, Democrats' attempts to walk this back crack me up because this is essentially their argument. Trump supporters are racist.
Bill, thank you. Yes, I think she was probably on the vice president list. Yes. Thank you, Bill. Hey, the second super chat, the goal is 5. It's just something that they're having us do for live streams now, a goal. We don't have to reach it. Just saying, we have a goal of 5 super chats. Don't have to reach it, no big deal. But Bill, thank you so much. Yes, I think she was probably on the list for vice president. Tulsi Gabbard is a phenomenal human being. She will be part of a very important part of Trump's administration and hopefully J.D. Vance's administration. Or maybe she'll run for president. I'll vote for her in a heartbeat. But I think Vance is going to go 8 years. I don't see anyone coming close to Vance. But Bill, thank you so very, very much.
A little bit sexist, fascist Nazis, but don't worry, you're not garbage. It's completely inconsistent. It makes no sense. And Trump is totally right to point out that the garbage comment is entirely in line with the way that Democrats have historically treated their voters. You even think back to a couple weeks ago when Barack Obama made that condescending lecture to black men about, well, if you were just not so sexist, maybe you would start supporting Kamala Harris. This is what they think.
Democrats do this also. An individual, like whether it's Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris, that doesn't make them Margaret Thatcher. That doesn't make them Joan of Arc. That doesn't make them, just because you're an amazing human being, man or woman, or a human being, you don't represent everyone who shares your characteristics in life. I'm trying to be algorithmically friendly here. So they say, well, if you don't vote for Harris, therefore you have a problem with everyone that reminds you of Harris. No, that's not true. It has nothing to do with the person's attributes or who they are. It has to do with the character, the achievement, and they say that Trump's character is fantastic. Look what I judge a person's character by what they did in terms of economic performance, foreign policy, the Doha Agreement, Abraham Accords. The Doha Agreement, by the way, was not followed by Biden. It was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. Trump withdrew Americans from the most tumultuous regions of the world. Trump is the anti-war president. Trump tried to renegotiate unfair trade deals. So if you have these intellectuals, these wonderful intellectuals, we have the dumbest intelligentsia of all time. But if you have people saying Trump has a character flaws, he has less character flaws than President Obama. Do you want to know why? When they asked President Obama what his biggest mistake was, it was his intervention in Libya. Trump does not have anything close in his entire life to that type of mistake. Trump did not destabilize an entire region of the world with a failed intervention. President Obama did. This is a fact of history. Even President Obama acknowledges this. It was an interview with Wallace on Fox where President Obama acknowledged his biggest mistake was the intervention in Libya. So you talk about a man's character, a person's character. I judge a person by their actions. I don't judge a person by the apoplectic, hysterical media coverage intent on destroying that individual. And so you look at Trump, and if you judge him by just his behavior, just his decision-making, he was a fantastic president. He did more for world stability or peace than President Obama, definitely more than Bush. I'm not a fan of the Clintons. I will say Bill Clinton, judging by the economy and foreign policy overall, was a good president. You won't hear me say that too often, but not as good as Trump, but Bill Clinton's, aside from, oh, finally you said something nice about me. I'm just trying to be as objective as possible, even though I lean conservative and I love Trump and I used to be a lifelong Democrat, and Trump was the first Republican I ever voted for. But I'm just looking at, you look at the past 3 or 4 presidents, you had Reagan, Clinton, and the most militant were Bush and President Obama, and then Trump, who was the best, even better than Reagan, in my book. But ladies and gentlemen, Rob, thank you again. The iOS app wouldn't let me type a message in the super chat. Can't, right? Yeah. Rob, thank you. Thank you, Rob. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. 3 out of 5. We're almost there, everybody. 3 out of 5. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes. Yes. Let's continue. Thank you, Rob.
Of voters. And, Trump says that it's because they hate the American people. I think it's more accurate to say that they hate what the American people represent. They hate that someone with no political power out in the middle of flyover country has the ultimate source of authority in this country. They hate that someone like my mother-in-law, who worked in an auto factory still since she was 16 years old, has the final say over who gets to go to Washington, D.C. That is what they hate. They do not want to have to answer to the American people. They want the power for themselves.
So Democrats disparaging half the country. We did bring some receipts on that note. Thank you for prompting that. Let's roll it.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islam.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. How can you spin this? I would like to know how Trump is the liar when you have wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrats who literally are lying in the most grandiose, deceptive, deceitful manner. My God almighty. And then they just chalk it up as, well, Trump is worse. Like you literally find them, you catch them in the lie with their hand in the cookie jar, their pants down. Oh, don't bring that up. And they still lie. And then they say Trump is worse.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call
You voted for the person defined by ignorance of the world. And so that's partly him playing to their base and playing to their audience. But
when it comes to Biden's comments, so 6 months ago, when it was obvious that Joe Biden was in cognitive decline, they were telling us, don't believe your lying eyes. Now they're telling us, don't believe your lying ears. I mean, we played it twice now. It is absolutely clear what he said. And this just shows the lie of the Biden presidency. This is a man who, in his inaugural address, said, I will put my whole soul into uniting this country. Just a few months ago, he said, after the first assassination, we got to lower the temperature. Now we're garbage. We're Nazis.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will be back at about 6:15. 6 o'clock, 6:15. Be here. We're going to talk about the Supreme Court. We'll also talk about the garbage truck. I want to do some more on this because the first couple of minutes of this live stream didn't work out in terms of the audio. But we almost did it. We got our goal of almost 4 out of 5, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, God bless you all. Thank you, everybody. Be here at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll go ahead and put the link up in a couple of minutes. It's good to be back. Good to be with you. I'll be here like every day, literally 3 times a day, live streams. It's really good to be here, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all. We're gonna have, this is a celebration. It's a month of celebration, and it's a month where we get the country back on track. It's going to be very historic and beautiful, and I can't wait to be here with you every single day. Be here at 6 p.m., everybody. Thanks, everybody. God bless you. See you at 6. Thank you. To my super chat. Thank you, everyone.